Let's talk about who Young Fan was before he got a second chance. He was an ordinary guy. Nothing special about him. No martial arts training, no military background, no secret talents. Just a regular person living a regular life with two people he cared about more than anything: his younger sister and his girlfriend. Then, the apocalypse hit. It didn't come with warning. One day the world was normal. People going to work, kids going to school, traffic jams and coffee shops, and complaints about the weather. The next day, everything changed. The dead started walking, or rather, the infected started turning. People you knew, your neighbors, your co-workers, your friends, suddenly became something else. Something hungry. Something that didn't recognize you anymore. Society collapsed fast. Faster than anyone expected. The military couldn't contain it. The government couldn't organize. Within weeks, the world, as Young Fan knew, was gone. And Young Fan? He did what most people did. He ran. He hid. He scraped together whatever food and water he could find. He tried to keep his sister safe. He trusted his girlfriend to watch his back. That was his first mistake. Because while Yang Fan was fighting to survive, putting his life on the line to protect the people he loved, his girlfriend had already made a different calculation. In the apocalypse, loyalty is a luxury, and she decided that Young Fan wasn't strong enough to be worth being loyal to. The betrayal wasn't dramatic. It wasn't a screaming argument or a grand revelation. It was cold, calculated. She aligned herself with someone stronger, someone who had powers, resources, a group that could actually survive. And she threw Young Fan away like dead weight. But that wasn't the worst part. The worst part was what happened to his sister. Yang Fan's little sister, the one person he would have done anything for, died. Not to zombies, not to some random act of apocalyptic violence. She died because Young Fan wasn't strong enough to protect her, because he was too trusting, because he wasted time on people who didn't deserve it, instead of getting stronger when it mattered. Young Fan held his sister as she took her last breath, and in that moment, something inside him broke. Not in the way that makes you give up, in the way that makes you dangerous. Young Fan should have died after that. He had nothing, no allies, no resources, no reason to keep going. But the world had one last surprise for him. Just as everything was about to end, just as Yang Fan was facing his own death in a world that had taken everything from him, something impossible happened. He woke up. Not in the ruined wasteland of the post-apocalypse, in his own bed, in his own apartment, in a world that was still normal, still functioning, still completely unaware of what was coming. The date on his phone confirmed it. He'd gone back, months before the apocalypse, before the zombies, before the collapse, before the betrayal, before his sister's death. Yang Fan sat in that bed for a long time, staring at the ceiling, trying to process what had happened. The memories of his previous life were crystal clear. Every death, every failure, every moment of helplessness burned into his brain with perfect, agonizing clarity. And then he noticed the ring. On his finger, where nothing had been before, sat a ring that pulsed with energy he couldn't explain. A ring that, when he focused on it, revealed abilities that shouldn't exist in a world that hadn't ended yet. A superpower ring. Something from the apocalypse, from the world of monsters and abilities and survival that had followed him back through time. Yang Fan didn't know why he'd been given a second chance. He didn't know why the ring had come with him. And honestly, he didn't care. Because the only thing that mattered, the only thing, was this. His sister was alive. She was in the next room, sleeping peacefully, completely unaware that the world was about to end. And this time, Yang Fan was going to make sure she stayed alive, no matter what it cost, no matter who he had to become. The old Yang Fan would have panicked, would have tried to warn people, would have gone to the authorities, tried to convince them that the apocalypse was coming, been dismissed as a lunatic, and wasted precious time. The new Yang Fan doesn't make those mistakes, because the new Yang Fan has something the old one didn't. Knowledge of exactly how the apocalypse unfolds, every stage, every escalation, every window of opportunity that closes permanently if you don't act in time. And he has the ring. The superpower ring doesn't just give him raw strength, it gives him access to abilities that, in his previous life, he saw other awakened people using to dominate the post-apocalyptic world. Abilities that made the difference between being prey and being a predator. Yang Fan starts preparing immediately, while the rest of the world is still going about its normal, oblivious life, complaining about traffic and scrolling through their phones. He's stockpiling supplies, training his body, and figuring out exactly how to maximize the ring's abilities before the first outbreak hits. But here's what makes Yang Fan different from your typical regression protagonist. He's not trying to save the world. He's not trying to be a hero. He's trying to save his sister. That's it. Everyone else, they can fend for themselves. And the people who betrayed him in his previous life, the girlfriend who threw him away, the people who stood by and watched while his sister died, they're going to find out that this version of Yang Fan remembers everything. When the outbreak finally hits, it's exactly like Yang Fan remembers. The chaos, the screaming, the sudden violent transformation of ordinary people into something inhuman. But this time, Yang Fan isn't running. While everyone else is scrambling, confused, terrified, desperately trying to understand what's happening, Yang Fan moves with the calm precision of someone who's already lived through this. He already knows where the safe zones are. He already knows which evacuation routes get overrun first. He already knows which buildings become death traps and which ones become defensible positions. His sister is safe. That was his first priority, and he handled it before the first zombies appeared. She's in a secured location with enough supplies to last weeks, protected by preparations that Yang Fan set up months in advance. Now it's time to get strong. The ring's abilities activate differently in the apocalyptic environment. The monsters, the evolved zombies, the mutant creatures that start appearing as the outbreak escalates, they all carry energy that the ring can absorb. Every creature Yang Fan kills makes the ring stronger, and every upgrade the ring receives makes Yang Fan more powerful. In his previous life, he was scrambling to survive while watching other awakened people accumulate power. He saw exactly which abilities were broken, which combinations were overpowered, which evolution paths led to unstoppable builds. And now he's executing that knowledge from day one. The people around him, the other survivors who are still in the screaming and running phase, watch Yang Fan wade into a horde of zombies with abilities that shouldn't exist this early in the apocalypse. They watch him clear threats that would take organized groups of armed survivors. They watch him do it alone, with a cold expression that suggests he's not even trying hard. And they start asking the same question that everyone in the apocalypse eventually asks about Yang Fan. Who is this guy? But strength isn't Yang Fan's only weapon. Knowledge is. He knows who to trust, and more importantly, he knows who not to trust. His ex-girlfriend is still alive in this timeline, still acting like everything is fine between them, still smiling, still pretending to care about him. and Yang Fan lets her. He doesn't confront her immediately. He doesn't expose her. He plays along. The same naive, trusting Yang Fan she remembers, while quietly building his power base, securing his sister's safety, and positioning himself to be untouchable when the inevitable betrayal comes. Because in Yang Fan's mind, the confrontation isn't about revenge for the sake of revenge. It's about removing threats. His ex-girlfriend aligned herself with dangerous people in the previous timeline, people who had resources and influence in the post-apocalyptic world. If she follows the same path this time, and Yang Fan is betting she will, because people don't change, they just reveal themselves under pressure, then she'll eventually become a threat to everything he's building. So he watches. He waits. He lets her think she's still pulling the strings. And when she finally makes her move, when she tries to pull the same betrayal, to align with the same powerful group, to discard Yang Fan the same way she did before, she discovers something terrifying. The weak, naive boy she was planning to throw away, he's already 3 steps ahead of her. He's already dismantled the group she was trying to join. He's already secured the resources she was trying to access. And he's standing in front of her with abilities that shouldn't exist, looking at her with eyes that contain absolutely zero warmth. Not anger, not sadness, not even hatred. Just nothing. The complete flat absence of someone who already watched you betray him once, and decided that you weren't even worth being angry at the second time. That's worse than rage. And she knows it. Yang Fan's words from the original story sum up his entire philosophy in a single line. Only the strongest deserves to survive. And I am the strongest. That's not arrogance. It's a promise. In his previous life, he learned that the apocalypse doesn't care about good intentions. It doesn't care about fairness. It doesn't care about who deserves to live. The strong survive, the weak don't. And the naive, the people who trust the wrong person, who hesitate when they should act, who show mercy to someone who would never show it back, they die first. Yang Fan isn't going to be naive again. He isn't going to be weak again. And he isn't going to let anyone, zombie, monster, or human, take anything from him ever again. The ring pulses on his finger, the power flows through him. And the apocalypse that killed him in his first life? This time, it's his hunting ground.